I know that. Yeah, that's fine.
This is Virtual Vision FM with your hosts Rev Ted Woodruff,
Era Parisian, Nina Ashby,
and me, Nick Humphreys.
Virtual Vision FM,
your platform to all things spiritual.
Be part of the show. Call in at area code 646-716-9336.
Hello and welcome once again to Virtual Vision FM. It is your platform to all things spiritual, and today is no different. I am here this show with my wonderful co-hosts, Reverend Ted Woodruff in the UK, as well as Nina Ashby, who is in. Nick is unable to join us today, but I'm sure he will be here in the next week or two. We miss him. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Great, thank you. Hi, Era. Hi, Ted. Hi, everybody.
Yay. So, Ted, how are things going with you?
Well, you'll have noticed a different position of the camera, which I was discussing earlier, because I was looking down at the laptop instead of looking straight at it. And, you know, guys are just the same as ladies. They like to look their best. So it cuts out the double chin, which is a start, and I just want to look my best. So, yeah. Busy as it has been. I mean, I remember last week I had this bad throat, which is a bit crucial for radio and live webinars. That's recovered itself. Fortunately, did the auctioneering yesterday. Again, it's crucial to have a voice going on there. Yeah, it's all happening as it is every week. But the most exciting thing today was I got an email from my man who is making a genuine, true-to-life tipi from Sandra. Hi. A genuine Native American teepee. He's got the canvas through and he's making a start to sew it. He's making it by hand, and it's going to be, I think, a 14-foot diameter one. And this is the culmination of many years of wanting. Probably 12 years have passed since I first had the idea, but I didn't have a large enough garden where I was living up in Ashford in Kent. It just wouldn't have fitted in the garden with any space whatsoever, let alone some sort of room to move around it. But now we've got Turns and the Namaste Garden. We've been down and we've walked the ground, as I think I've probably mentioned. And yeah, finally, you know, after 12 years, I'm actually more excited about, in a sense, the fact that it's come to fruition. There's this sort of, I don't know, even however old you get, you still get excited about something that you've wanted for so long and you've managed to achieve before you throw off your mortal coil. So there will be this absolute, and I've been putting images up of a very, what it should be looking like, the sort of white canvas, genuine Native American tipi. We've got the position that it's going to go in. I've got the right people who are going to help me from day one once it's put up, and to do everything absolutely properly, as I consider, as do the Native Americans, that it is a sacred space and it is important to do it right from the start. Those who are allowed to go in, the preparation of the position, the preparation of the energy space within and without. So yeah, that's the thing that's actually just happened today, that he's asked for a deposit on it, and probably another month, 4 weeks maybe before it's done, maybe a bit longer, but at least he's got the canvas and he's doing so. That's really kind of exciting, and it's going to be interesting because you don't get them in the UK that much. People have them, but they're not a common sight. And it's not that I want to get it just because I'm getting one. I want to get it because I truly desire one. I think it's going to be a brilliant, energetic space to work in. So that's the main thing that's happened today. The rest of the week has been the usual. We have a get-together on the Wednesday for a healing exchange and a reader. This is getting crazy now, looking that I might have to extend the house because there's so many people coming in. The energies are huge. Bear in mind, this all sort of really kicked off after Mum passed in December, and very quickly from January, the house was having people in and doing stuff and events, and it's continued, and more people are joining, and the energies are truly huge. Now, Susie may do a re-listen on this. I don't know whether she'll be listening now, but Susie Higgins has become part of the group, and she's very she perceives more than I do, and perhaps more than others do, but she can see energies. She can see forms actually walking around in the hallway and up the stairs, and I don't see this. Some people do, but they can actually see spirit, which is an awesome thing. The fact that I can't, I have someone who can, sort of thing. And she says she's just never known energies like it, and they're showing themselves. And as I'm talking about it, bang, 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 and it comes. So Susie, amongst a whole lot of other people, I really have got some amazing world-class healers and psychics and readers and people, energies around me that the vision and the dream and the desire and the wish is so coming to fruition, which is very, very nice. I don't get yippee-dippy-doo-dah about it, but it's just that steady progression to what I wanted at the centre of excellence, and I have got excellent people, and there's going to be more of them. So yeah, all really good here. I could talk for England about my project and my life and what happens down here, but essentially, yeah, it's always going to be really, really good.
Well, I have to thank you actually, because I noticed some video that was posted to the Virtual Vision FM Facebook page, and it showed some healing in action. So that is the kind of thing that Virtual Vision FM is going to be providing more and more of. We call it Virtual Vision FM on the ground. Right now we're just virtually here, and yet there's going to be so many things that we are going to achieve on the ground. And sometimes we'll be together, believe it or not, England and Canada coming together, and boom, we'll be doing events. And other times we will be doing them separate, but always watch for the video of our presence all over the place. So thanks for doing that, Ted. That was a really wonderful and fun thing to see. It's really quite remarkable. And Nina, what are you doing lately?
Well, I'm doing the work, as always, seeing all my clients and working in Selfridges, seeing my private clients, and I just had a 4-page article in Spirit and Destiny magazine on managing your energy, so teaching energy skills and in a very simple, down-to-earth way, centering, cleansing, and talking a little bit about protection. But I always think that the best protection is centeredness. So, it's really, very fantastic to be able to share my expertise and my many, many years of working in the field and teaching people basic skills, which I find that even people who come along to my classes who've had some kind of training, they're not really taught very well those basic skills. So it fills in a lot of blanks for people. So I'm very proud of that and very pleased, and I look forward to hearing from people and their experiences. So that's quite fun. That's my latest publication experience, so it's great.
Well, that's really cool to hear, and I like the fact that there are places for people to go to learn and keep expanding, because there's so much to the work that it's constantly changing, and they really need to go where there's authentic assistance, and I'm so glad that you're out there doing that. And
Thank
just
you.
a reminder to our viewers, I love saying that, our viewers, instead of our listeners. you know, we may be offering this show every week, and we are bringing to the forefront some of the most incredible workers in their field for everyone to experience, learn, and grow from. And that's amazing to me. It's amazing. And it is a passion of mine. But the other thing, too, that I want you to keep in mind is that we're all here for you, and you can book sessions with any one of us at any time. All you have to do is email virtualvisionfm.com. And I really want to say that the guests we have on this show are so authentic. They are so amazing at what they have to offer. Their abilities are phenomenal, and they welcome people to book with them as well, and we really do encourage that. If there was only one person who could give everything to everybody, there'd only be one person, but you have an entire world to pick and choose from. And we here at Virtual Vision we're just so happy to be able to provide you just a little bit of a taste as to what's out there. So you aren't walking your journey alone. We're all here in it together, and we should be helping one another, right? So
exactly. I just want to also say to Ted, your teepee may be ready for summer solstice.
Oh. Ooh.
You know, that wasn't something I hadn't got that far yet. It's a matter of...
Well, it's a month from now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that would be a fabulous consecration moment if it is all in alignment, isn't it, with summer solstice?
Wow. Do you know what will happen? That will be when it arrives, you know, a week before. That's how it's going to be. There's no coincidence in these things. I was curious to when it would be arriving because it will be timely, and now you said that. I also had a feeling that maybe it would come around the time of my mother's birthday, towards the end of July, but equally, I don't know when the summer solstice is, but it's before July.
The 21st of June.
Oh, my life. Yeah, that's very possible then. That's very
well, you
possible.
said about 4 weeks from now, so today's the 17th. So.
Yeah, and usually there are delays with everything, but I really don't feel a delay around this. I feel an effortlessness, which tells me that it just should be, right?
Yeah.
So I feel a big chill when you say that, yeah.
I know, me too. I got the goosebumps.
That's the one, and you know that we're on the money, yeah.
I would just allow things to unfold exactly as they should and know that it's going to be the perfect time. And how wonderful is that? So watch for June. June is going to be why do I want to say transition month? I don't know why I want to say transition month, but I'll put it out there. Things are changing, and there is a transition that will come full circle in the month of June.
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yoo-hoo-hoo!
Actually, you make a very valid point there about not pushing things to happen. And it's quite a few years ago I subscribed to that up until, you know, I've been busting through life sometimes at high speed. I don't know whether it's as you get older you get a little bit more sort of slowed up and a little bit more pedestrian about things. But I tell you what, I had so rushed everything during my life. And then probably about 5 years ago when I moved down here, I took time for me and I chilled and I sat in the garden, and I don't know whether I'd ever been at peace in my mind or physically up until then. But I came out of a very sort of unpleasant area that I was living in, and the energies around it. And I came down, Mum sorted the house out down here by the coast and whatever, and I sat in the garden for the first time and just literally did nothing, and actually thought nothing, and that is possible to just let your mind go blank and just be totally. And I tell you what, when you switch off from the outside world and you switch off from trying and pushing, you open up this extraordinary path that you're not blocking anymore, because by your speed and your haste and your wishing and your desires and all of that goes on, you are putting blocks across the path. Once you don't do that, it's absolutely amazing what channels and flows in unencumbered, like, you know, like a dam being removed from a stream. You just get that absolute flow. I don't know where that's just come from, but it just occurred to me.
That's okay. You know, it's a wonderful segue into the fact that I am offering a course right now. So, and it's all to do with universal laws and how to use them with deliberate consciousness in order to transform and create the life that you're more wanting to live, except, instead of existing in the one that you have. So, yeah, it's all those universal laws that you're talking about there, Ted. It's that law of rhythm and the law of gender and just, not trying to direct the river because you can't, right? And just allow yourself to be and be carried to where you need to be. And only act when you're inspired to do so, because that's the only action we ever need to take. Everything else is mediocre at best when we try and posture ourselves so that, we're forcing everything into place by the time that we want it, when the universe knows perfection, and it always takes the path of least resistance. So why put yourself through all of that when you just have to get out of your own way and allow? For sure.
That
So,
so
giving
makes
this
sense.
course in Vancouver, or are you giving it on the webinar?
Actually, I'm going to be using the webinar, this platform, for some of it. It depends on what people want and the best way that they prefer to learn. Sometimes people learn best in a classroom setting, and so it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can join us and learn. And if you prefer the one-on-one individual transformation course, then that's doable through Skype. I mean, or in person, it doesn't really matter. It covers everything. So whatever you need, whatever you want, it's all there for you. And the beauty of this course that I'm offering is that it's a 30-day course, believe it or not. It's a 30-day course. And within that 30 days, you will have be well on your way, actually, to the transformation of a lifetime. And it's a complete metamorphosis that can take place, and it's all there for you. You're worth it. You're worth the dignity of your own efforts. And I'm excited. Can you tell? This stuff.
I can tell. Now, Era, if somebody's interested in taking this course, would you tell me? I'll type into the chat room exactly what your how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, just email me. You can either email me through virtualvisionfm@gmail.com, or you can email me directly at eraparisian@gmail.com. So there's two ways to get in touch with me, or even find me on Facebook and shoot me a message, and we can have a little chit chat, and I can offer you a course outline so that you know what you're getting into. So yeah, thanks. So there we go. Now, I know that our guest, Tina DeLuca, we're going to get to her in a few minutes. She is making a return visit to Virtual Vision FM, and we are so excited that she is. Unfortunately, our regular scheduled guest here could not make it due to flu, and Tina was just a saint, and she was able to switch the Sundays of her appearance to this one. And I know it's very meaningful to her to have it done this week, so we're going to talk about that as well. But before we get to Tina and her wonderful wisdom, let's go back to Ted, and can we get the 1 minute me moment, Ted?
Do you know, every week I wonder whether you're going to remember me. And the only reason is simply that we have, as you were saying, such amazing guests and people who step in at the last minute sometimes very fortuitously. And so I kind of think, okay, wait for your moment. Nina actually touched on protection earlier, a few minutes ago. And that is one thing that I think is crucial for people. You can't bludgeon them into doing it, but and it is a matter of just getting it in your head to do it. I've been just as bad as anyone for not doing protection and grounding in years gone by, and it's just something as a human that unless you put your mind to it, and perhaps write it down to remind yourself to start with. I'm only human, you folks are only human out there, that it's very easy not to get into the habit of doing something. For example, for years and years and years, there's been this talk about fluoride in your drinking water and whatever, and I've said I really ought to start getting bottled water. And then there's Hermesitis that they say builds up in the body that isn't good for you, this aspartame thing. And I thought, yeah, you know, one day, but then convenience and cheapness and whatever, the two. Well, a few weeks ago, I actually did start to buy bottled water, and I did change from aspartame to a stevia product, which is a more natural thing. And I now do online shopping, which makes me purchase the right stuff and doing it on a regular basis. So from my perspective, I do see that it's taken years and years and years for me to get to the point where I've concentrated my mind to do it, and now I just simply do. It's part of my shopping list is to have water brought in and the stevia and a variety of things from vegetables and whatever. I'm not perfect. I still have fish and chips and eat bad things on occasions, but I am doing my best. And it's the same goes for protection and grounding, which is something which, once you get it in your head, you'll do it. But it will take sometimes weeks, months, and years before you actually do get to do it on a regular basis. And then once you do it on a regular basis, you'll find yourself doing it more than once a day, probably, because it just becomes part of an instinctive process of your day. From my point of view, when I've got people around me, because they are asking me to ground them or put a level of protection around themselves extra to that which they do, then that serves as a reminder to me that I must do it. And I also do it at last thing at night anyway. And I do the lazy one because I ask the angels to ground me. I just ask them, just, you know, that's it. And I don't have to concentrate on that grape and that vine between my ankles and all that sort of thing. And I ask them to put an aura of protection around me. I do it in the physical, but I also, like I say, I do the lazy way. So anyway, the 1 minute me moment was something that came to my mind quite a while ago now. And it seems to resonate with people on virtual vision, both when we could only be heard and now that we can be seen. And certainly people in my group and my immediate zone. That, you know, we're encouraged to do 20 minutes of exercise a day, or to do it sort of regularly, to have 5 a day of vegetable fruit, all this sort of thing. But when do we get time for ourselves? Now, we should make time. We should make time, but we don't make time. There's the rush of life that we're all sort of tend to be involved in. We don't take time for us. So instead of trying to do 20 minutes of exercise or 20 minutes of meditation or whatever, just start out, I suggest, with 1 minute a day. And during that 1 minute a day, when the children are maybe at school, the partner is at work, or you've got a quiet time, or even in your lunch hour or whatever, sit yourself in a quiet area. Close your eyes, sit on a comfy chair as best you can. Close your eyes and concentrate on your breathing. And breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And in through your mouth and out through your nose, just to make you concentrate on your breathing. And at the same time, imagine that you're grounded. And the grounding part is to stop the etheric part of you floating away. You're not physically going to float away, but you can sort of spiritually lift off. So if you're attached to Mother Earth, it's a good thing. And imagine a vine joining your ankles. It's as simple as that. And another vine from that one going down, 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 deep into the earth, and attaching itself around a tree trunk or a large rock. Do this in your mind's eye and attach yourself, ground yourself to Mother Earth. And then this protection aspect of throwing a colour around yourself, like a bubble of light, a sphere of light, an eggshell of light. And it can be any colour you like. I like white and I like gold because they're pure colours to me. But you can use purple or green or orange, whatever resonates with you, and throw that auric protection around yourself. Or ask your guides, spirits or angels, to do it for you. And that gets you within a zone that is protected. That is what it is, protection. You're grounded and you're protected. And then for that minute, just connect in your mind's eye to your loved ones. They can be alive on the earth plane. They can have passed and transited to the heavens. And just spend that minute of your day communicating with them in your own zone, in your own peace and in your own mind. What you will probably find is you go from a minute to 2 minutes to maybe 5 minutes. But start with a minute and see how you get on. And it works for me, it works for a lot of people that do it. And I can't emphasize the importance, certainly, of protection, because I've practiced it for quite a few years now. And unless I'm mistaken, which I'm not, I don't get any aggravation in my life. Now, I don't know whether I'm just lucky or whether it's my approach with people or I'm surrounded by good and awesome people, or whether there is an influence of having protected and grounded myself for quite a few years now. But I don't get aggro in my life because there is this etheric, invisible sphere of protection around you, and it so works. Trust me, okay? Trust me. Give it a try, and it works. So that's the 1 minute me moment, and I shall say it again next week. Give it a shot because it really is very powerful and it works. And just the last thing I will say to you, it's all about intent. Everything is about intent, okay? So you can heal with the right intent, you can protect yourself with the right intent, you can ground yourself with the right intent. As long as you're thinking to do it and you intend to do it, it's, I swear to goodness, it's so powerful. So give it a try.
Well, thanks, Ted. And it's so true. You know, you have to try it, then deny it. But don't dismiss it without giving it a go, because it really does help. And if anything, like the protection, yes, is very important to a lot of people. And yet when we do it, we also center ourselves. And just centering the energy of who we are is very, very powerful. And it feels, I don't know, feels actually phenomenal, and you come out and you feel very relaxed as well. So there's so many benefits to spending that kind of time one-on-one with just you that
Now I lost air.
Pardon?
We lost you there. At least I lost you for about a minute.
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
There was a
sound went. Yeah,
there
it was just a blip. Oh, you're back. Welcome back.
Hi. Well, you know, it is Mercury in retrograde. It starts
heavens.
we are in the shadow of it.
Tomorrow, tonight.
There's always a planetary influence. Your screen froze and you looked a little bit sort of. I couldn't hear you. Yeah, almost exactly that. Yeah.
So Mercury retrograde starts very shortly, but we are in the shadow, close to a week coming up to it. So I know a friend of mine really wanted to tune into the show today, and she can't because her computer just broke down. Right? I just said, oh, that's just so Mercury in retrograde type of thing. So let's get to our guest, Tina DeLuca. She is an excellent numerologist. She has been with us before on Virtual Vision FM, and she is truly remarkable. Tina, are you there? Come join us.
Hello, I'm here. Hi.
There you are.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Thanks.
It's such a treat to have you back with us today. And, you know, I can tell you right now that, you know, this isn't going to be your final appearance either, because you're such a popular guest. I have to tell you that. So,
thank you.
I was sort of giving secrets away before introducing you about how today is quite special to you, and how this is the day we wanted you to come onto the show, but then things transpired where it wasn't possible. And then, go ahead, tell us the story.
Yes, so I had a choice of different dates that Ara presented to me, and it was like, oh, I really want the 17th. And so I told her that, and then she messaged me back, said, oh, it's already booked with somebody else. And it's like, oh, I'm a little bummed, but that's okay, it's meant to be. And the reason why is because today's the day that my mom passed away 7 years ago. And very close to my mom, we had a very strong connection and bond. And it's hard at times, like I miss her, but it's, I choose to celebrate her on this day. I don't want to remember her death. I want to remember her through activities or doing something that would celebrate her and her memory. So when you messaged me and said, oh, the guest that was booked instead of me came down with the flu, would I do it? It was like, yes. And I think my mom had a big hand in that. I choose to believe that.
Yes. Well, I do too, actually.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yes. So sorry to the other guest. That was my mom's doing, but my best interests at heart still.
Yeah. Now, isn't it interesting? Tina, I just want to, if you don't mind,
Yes.
as you're speaking, I am picking up on a few things. Is it all right to share that with you?
Sure. Yeah, I would love that.
Okay, I'm just going to sort of take you off camera in case it gets a little personal. Then you don't, we can't really see you too well. There is a female in spirit that is coming around you. She's offering yellow roses, and I'm not quite sure what the significance is about the yellow roses, but they're quite meaningful for something. So obviously it's an anniversary date today for her, but there must be something else in the month of May that is celebrated. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Okay, so she wants you to know that she still remembers. There's some sort of nursing thing around, I get this medicinal kind of scent as she comes through. So somebody was actually caregiving with her, or there's somebody in the nursing field. Do you understand this?
She was in the hospital the week she passed away.
Okay, but she mustn't have liked hospitals then very
No,
much.
she didn't. No.
Okay, yeah, that's why she's making a big deal about the medicinal smell.
Yeah.
Now, she's talking about a female whose name starts with a vowel, and I have to admit, I really suck at vowel names, so there's either an Ellen or an Edith. I really feel it's an E.
Okay.
So it may not be her, but it could be someone that she wants to acknowledge that is still here. She's also talking, are there twins that run in the family? Or are there children that are born close together?
What was that last statement? Sorry?
There were two children in the family that were born relatively close together. Like the same month.
Same month. I'm trying to think. Yes, there are. Like, I have cousins that were born close together.
Yeah, okay. So she wants to acknowledge that side of the family for some reason. So there must be something going on with that side of the family. She also wants you to know that the dog is with her. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Yeah. So the dog is with her. They're having a wonderful time. She wasn't fussy on cats, though. Do you understand?
Yes.
And she says somehow she got stuck with the cat. So, so just know that she is well. She is a very strong force, and she's telling me that when she was here, she was a force to be reckoned with as well. Do you understand?
Yes.
And it wasn't anything derogatory. It was she was almost like a crusader. Like she wanted to fight everybody's battle. She was really into fairness and justice, and would give people the shirt off her back to help people. Do you understand? And she said, basically, you're the same way. You're a chip off the old block, and she's very, very proud of you. And you've acknowledged her today, not just here on the air, but you've actually done something through action. Who's Steve? I'm sorry, who's Steve?
That is my friend's partner.
Okay, you must have had cause to be in communication recently, or talk about him, or of him, not about him. That sounds
awful. This morning I did that.
This morning?
Asked who's your soulmate.
Yeah. So that is her way of letting you know that she's been with you the whole time. She was eavesdropping on that conversation. So there's a little bit of evidence that she's very, very close to you, and will remain that way too. So I will she's giving me chills. She just wants to send her love to you, and she just surrounds you with it. So just know that she's always with you and continues to love you. And in as much as you love her, it is reciprocated, okay?
Yes.
Okay,
yes. Good. Lovely.
You're welcome. Okay, so sometimes that happens with me and I just have to spit it out and then we can move along. But here we are, moving along.
Hey. Thanks, Mom.
Oh, she just adores you.
I know.
And she's very proud of you. So let's show the viewers, now that I've got you all upset, let's show the viewers why your mom is just so amazingly proud of you. You have this extraordinary ability. When did you actually come upon it? When was that awareness born in you?
The numerology part?
Yes.
So I was 16 years old, So that's quite a few years ago. I'm going to say over 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I had gone to a fair. At the time, they called them psychic fairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to see a numerologist myself because I was, curious and fascinated. And she blew me away with the reading I got from her on my numbers. And she offered to teach me, take me under her wing. And so for the next 7 years, she taught me everything she knew about numerology. And that's how I got my start into it. And it was like a bug. Like once I got hooked, I couldn't let it go. I love it. I love numerology.
So can I ask you, we all have our passion, right? And we kind of live it. You must live your own numerology then. Do you base a lot of your decisions in life just by what the numbers are telling you? Is that fair to say?
I want to say at times I do and at times I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's normal, right, for a lot of intuitive people and people in this kind of field. I try not to, because you can go like really detailed with numerology, like you can break it down to what your number is that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can either put you off or move you, or put you onto something. So what I prefer doing for myself is I like to reflect back on the numbers. So it's like, oh, how did my day unfold, or how did this past week unfold, or this month? And it's like, oh yeah, because that number was. Or if I'm struggling with anything, because we all struggle, even though we know what we know and do what we do.
Yeah.
I will say, like, wait a minute, I'm a numerologist. What's going on here? So I'll look at my numbers and it's like, okay, it calms me down and it just reassures me. It's like, okay, this, having that knowledge, it helps. It does.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's interesting that you say sometimes a number will put you off, and that's just what your belief is, right? So,
right.
There's a lot of things that I believe that I should be doing and I don't. Right? So yeah. It's actually refreshing to hear someone who is actively immersed in their stuff to know that sometimes they're fallible and they don't pay attention or kind of lead with it in their lives. So, but I'm sure that when you do look back and you really find the numbers have played out remarkably well. It must be so incredibly accurate because numbers don't change.
No, they don't, and it's uncanny. Like it's just, I don't know what the right word is, but it's just like, yeah, it blows me away sometimes.
Yeah.
Say like, and I at times too, I like to test. Like,
ooh.
Put it to the test. Like, oh yeah, right. We'll see what happens, or I don't believe in it. It's like, yeah, I should have known better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good. It's all good. So, and I find like it helps with other people because I can share and speak from a place of understanding and relating because a lot of people don't know the details about numerology.
Well, I was just thinking that, and a lot of people think that numerology is just the self numbers and where those self numbers are influencing your direction in life. But really, they can sort of lend wisdom to where you live, what your address is, what your phone number is, how they relate to different numbers, like in a relationship. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. Yes, because every number has an energy, and there's positive and negative aspects to each number,
mm-hmm.
and so they'll both be present. They go in and out. They can go both ways. So, and then it'll help understand, especially if you struggle. The numbers can show like, okay, this is what the struggles are and what you can do to make it better, or to cope, or to
mm-hmm.
get through it. Yeah.
Right. So at 16, and are there different types of numerology? Like I know in astrology there's the Harari astrology, and then there's the natal charts and such. Are there different levels of numerology? Does that make sense?
Yes. I don't remember all the different names for them, but there's different systems and there's different ways of calculating it. So yes, every numerologist, and there's even books out there, they'll calculate the numbers differently.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll come out to a different number.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the difference? Like how, if there's so many different ways of doing it and it comes up with different numbers,
Right.
how do we know which one we should be paying attention to?
Well, my way's the right way.
Yay, Tina! I love it.
Well, the system that I use, what I like about it is because you add the numbers across. And that's how you get like a double digit first. Whereas there's other systems, they don't consider the double digit meaning. They just keep adding it till you get a single digit, and they just go with that.
Okay. So I've always been told I was an 11.
Okay.
So in some numerological calculations, that shouldn't be added together, and in others, it should?
Yes.
Is that okay?
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And the 11, is that your date of birth?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you don't want to share the year, so how I would do it is like the number of the month plus the number of the day. So if it's a double digit, you put a plus sign between every number.
So it's like September the 9th, so it's 9 plus 9.
Yeah, plus, and then the year, 1 plus, we know it's 9, so plus 9.
Yeah.
And then you put a plus sign, and you add it across.
Right.
And you get the double digit. So it's like, what kind of 11 are you? That, the numerology that I learned is like, what kind of 11 you are. Because it could be a 29-11, it could be a 38-11.
Here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking this because I know I'm not the only person in the world that is in this situation. I was adopted.
Okay.
And so at the time of my birth, I was given a name.
Right.
And then I was adopted, and they gave me a different name. And then they changed it because they liked something better.
Okay.
More names than you can actually believe.
Right.
And now I go by a different name.
Right.
Because it's who I have evolved into.
Right.
So, but interestingly enough, they're all 11s.
Wow.
So my names are 11, and my birthday is an 11.
Wow.
So
that's unusual. That's unique.
Well, when it was first pointed out to me, I was like, "What are you talking about? That's almost impossible. What are the odds?" So, what kind of 11 then are we looking at? Can you tell just from that?
What kind of 11?
Yeah, you said there's different kinds of 11s.
Oh, because what I mean by that is when you add to get to the number 11, is it like a 38? 11, see, because the 8 plus 3 is
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, is it a 29-11 because 9 plus 2 equals 11? I'm trying to think of another combination.
It's 6 and 5.
6 and 65?
Yeah.
So that tells me that in relationships, so you're here to master relationships on all levels. So not just intimate, but relationships with strangers, friends, family members. But the type of relationships that you thrive in is where you have your own personal freedom.
I think I want a do-over this lifetime.
You want a do-over?
Yeah, I want a do-over. I don't want to be here for these relationship thingies.
Well, interesting enough, I can't prove it. This is something I believe. Mm-hmm. And, some numerologists, have said this, but those who have master number, it's because they're here, they've reincarnated to get as much done as possible. It's like they said, this lifetime I want to do it all, be it all, have it all happen to me because I don't want to come back again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of times they have everyone has, challenges and tough lives, but it's people with the master, it's like that much more tougher. It's that much more magnified. And it's like they have to learn it that much quicker than others because they're here to master the laws of life and of the soul in this lifetime because they don't want to come back here anymore. They
Yeah,
want to get
that's important. I love the way you put that, Tina, because master numbers, when people think, oh, I'm a master number, it means that you're spiritually evolved and you're absolved from learning and all that kind of stuff. And you're not.
No, it's
You're
no.
not.
They have, yeah, no. I find
all that.
sorry, I'm getting excited. It's like no, it's totally opposite. People with a master number, I find have it that much more difficult in life than those without.
Well,
So
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you hit upon the relationship issue with me, and I mean, that's the thorn in my side this lifetime is relationships, and admittedly the personal relationships, like the intimate ones, I've had several, none of them, it's just not working, right?
Yeah.
And some friendships just don't work. And it's just they're okay for a while, and then boom, I have to find myself all over again, and and reemerge and resolve and expansion. That's what I'm here to do as well. And mastery is allowing that expansion to take place and learn and grow from it and through it. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then because I look at the 65, it's like you need your freedom. So if you're in a relationship where you feel they're, clingy or taking up too much of your time or energy, you will break it off. You'll run away or you rebel.
Oh yeah, I'm a rebeller.
and you're meant to make your home away from your home. Like you're not meant to, wherever you were raised or born or grew up most of your life, you're not meant to make your home there. Your home is always away. Does that make sense? Like far from your birthplace.
Well,
and your family, you have a unique family situation, and you're meant to make the community your family. That's how
wow.
That's what you're meant to do. You're meant to make the community your family, not your actual family.
Okay, so just let me fill you in and validate what you've just told me, because it's absolutely phenomenal. Being adopted, I always felt that I was dropped out of the sky and I just landed wherever I landed. And I didn't get a very good draw when it came to that. It was a very difficult, tumultuous type of upbringing, and I could hardly wait to get out of there. And I always had this thing, I didn't know where home was. I just knew where it wasn't. And then finally, it was on the deathbed of my best friend. She looked at me and she said, "What have you learned?" And I looked at her and I said, "I learned that home is wherever I am." And that stunned me, because that's what I had been looking for the whole time. And ever since then, I've been fine. I'm very fine to be wherever I am, and I make the most of it. And community and my family, of course, is very, very important to me. But I can have that anywhere, right? So cool. That's amazing. I think we lost Ted here. I'm not quite sure where he went. His computer must have given up there. So the first thing when people are looking to understand who they are through their numbers, what's the first step? What's the first step that they actually need to take to figure that out?
So I like the date of birth. That's the most accurate because you cannot change it. It's set in stone. Whereas with names, like you mentioned yourself, your name's changed a number of times.
Right.
Even though the number, when you calculate it, it's the same number, that's unique and rare, very, very rare. So names can be changed, and, that can change the energy of who you are. It's still a part of you, but I like the date of birth because the date of birth is like a blueprint of why you're here, what are your passions, your strengths, your weaknesses, your challenges, who you are, who you're meant to be.
Right.
Yes.
So if someone has several other names, which name would you prefer them to use when it comes to the name part? I mean, if it's the birth date only, that's one thing, but if the names become involved, which name would they use? The one given at birth or the one they use most of the time?
Well, with the names, I like to tell people, go with what feels right for you, like what name you like, because you wear it.
Right.
So I mean, if you're concerned about like what number's best, like there's no best number when it comes to names, because every number has, you know, positive and negative aspects to it. So with the names, it's like, you know, what do you like best? What feels right to you? What do you like being called by? So it should go more on a feeling. It's a personal. And then, you know, we can look at the numbers, what they mean, and, you know, how that fits into who you are.
Right.
Based on the name.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So the first step is the birth date, and you add all that up, and that gives you what?
So that gives you what we call your life purpose number.
Okay.
So it's why you were born. Like what's the purpose of your soul? What you're meant to do, meant to be, your strengths, weaknesses, the good and the bad. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. And also, too, with the birth date, by using just the month and the day and the present calendar year, that can tell me what kind of year you're going to have, like what's going to be present in your life.
Okay.
Okay, and that has to do with cycles. That's called cycles.
Okay.
And cycles, they go by 9 years. Start number 1 and go up to number 9. And I like to compare it to growing a garden.
Okay.
So if you're in a number 1 year, it's like you're starting your garden. You're starting new. So like everything should be clean, and it's like you're planting the seeds. So a number 1 cycle is like new ideas, new beginnings, anything new.
Right.
And then moves on, right? Until the number 9 year, and the number 9 year is about cleaning the garden. You know, reflecting and looking back, like what worked, what didn't, what you need to let go of, what you need to complete. Get it all cleaned out so that you can start fresh with your new garden in the number 1 cycle again.
Okay. So having said that, I've quickly done the calculation for this year.
Okay.
And I'm having an 8-year.
Okay.
So that means I'm coming to the end of a cycle.
You'll be, right now you're number 8 year, and your birth month is September, right?
Right.
So when people change their cycles, this is my personal experience from doing so many readings, is I find a person's cycle changes 2 months before their birthday. It doesn't happen like, boom, it's my birthday, I'm number 9 year. No, you ease into it.
Yeah.
It's an energy, right?
Yeah.
So for you, it's July. So you're in the last part of your number 8 year cycle. So in an 8 year cycle, it's about the law of attraction and value. So what do you value? So, and I find it's a kind of a go for it energy. So no matter how many times you feel like I got knocked down or this isn't working out,
right,
just keep going for it. Like it's got a persistent energy. It's about like, don't give up. Keep going for it, because the universe is trying to say to you that wasn't right. Like the timing wasn't right, the circumstances, the people, the situation, something better's out there.
right.
If you just allow, don't get discouraged. So if there's something you really want to accomplish or, you know, obtain or do, and it hasn't happened yet, just keep going for it, Ara. Like, don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have a month and a half left.
Yeah.
It's also it's about money and finances.
Mm-hmm.
So either you find like you've got lots coming in or lots is going out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the value and the laws of attraction come in. So you have to really focus, like, am I worth this?
Yeah.
Let's say if you're feeling down financially, it's like, try not to put yourself like, yeah, I'm poor. No, elevate yourself to like, I value myself. I'm much more than this. I am rich. I am priceless. That kind of thing.
Abundance. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also a year where everything that happens from the people you meet, reconnect with, work with, to circumstances on all levels, it's a meant to be. Like, there's something, they kind of call it like a contract behind it. So it could be short-lived, or it could last for, a lifetime. But everything's meant to be. There's something, it's karmic.
Yeah.
It's karmic.
Well, that's a lot of food for thought. Now, I see in the chat room that Carrie is saying that she's in a 9-year this year. I'm not sure. Carrie, if you could take a moment and just type in your birth month, and so that way Tina will have a little bit more information to go on. Or would you, well, Carrie, just give us your birth date if you don't mind. Your month, year, and day. If you don't want to give your year, that's okay. Tina knows how to deal with rebels like you. She just did it with me. And Ted is
talk to her about her 9-year. That'll be something for you to ponder, because you're going to be going into 9-year in July.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yay. What fun it is. What fun it is. I'm just waiting for Carrie's information.
Okay.
And Carrie, if you can give us your birth date, that would be great. So in 9-year is when you basically reap the harvest and then clean it all up, right? She's saying
8 years reaping the harvest. So it's like what all the efforts and work you've done the past, 7-8 years. This is supposed to be your harvest year right now.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay. Carrie is October 2nd, 1982. I'll just quickly say welcome back to Ted. Tina's just going to deliver Carrie a reading here.
Well, I don't know how she got a number 9 years. She's not.
Oh, okay.
October 2nd.
Yes.
No, she's not. No, she's in a number 1 year right now.
You are in a number 1 year, Carrie.
So it's about new beginnings, new ideas, new people she'll be meeting, just trying and getting out there as much as possible, trying as many new things as possible, but also to be patient, because some ideas and plans will take off right away, but some will need time to grow and tweak and find its way, okay? Mm-hmm. Also, men will play an important role in her life this year, or people with a strong masculine energy. She has to be aware of sharp objects, and so that, and not to rush around. So she doesn't, because it could be like silly accidents, like, cutting themselves, getting into fender benders, bumping into stuff. Because number 1, it's like it's busy. It's like, I'm in a rush to get here, I'm in a rush to get there. 1, 2 is like wanting, to be their own boss, like just, it's about believing in themselves and just, moving forward and just doing it, right? Just getting it done. Also has to be aware of like not to be so bossy, and to be careful not to think before you speak. You know, may say things that put people off, speaking their minds.
That's pretty
Taking
amazing.
charge. Yeah.
So Carrie has said, "Oh, she was mistaken. Last year was the 9 year, and yes, this is a 1 year for her." So Carrie, if you don't mind just putting into the comment section here in the chat room how you felt about what Tina had to say, and I just sort of had to giggle when she said, "Don't be bossy." Not that I think you are or anything, but I just think people always cringe when they hear that kind of info.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. I laugh it off, but still, there's a grain of truth in there for me anyway.
And do you want me to tell you about the number 9 year then, Ara, for you? Okay, so 9 is about endings and completion,
Ooh.
letting go. So a number 9 year is very challenging. And it's very draining energetic-wise. It's a draining year. So you have to be careful not only about stuff that resurfaces for you on all levels, especially emotional and spiritual, but those around you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you may find that you'll hear from people that you haven't heard from in a long time, or people who will want to dump their stuff on you.
Right.
Okay. So you have to really, if you can, get as much rest as possible. If you're able to take naps, get extra sleep. It'll be important. You will need alone time every day to recharge your batteries. Like, that's true now, but I mean, just especially when you're a number 9 year, you will find that you may hear or see people you haven't seen for a long time just pop back into your life. It's not a year about new beginnings, and you can try. So I've told clients, you can test it. You can try something new, whether it's a new plan, a new idea, like moving forward with something new. It will not work out. No matter you think like, yeah, everything's going, great. I met this new person or this new plan is going. The universe interferes and say like, not this year. You have to clean up your stuff first. So it's about reflecting and looking back on who you are, how far you've come, what you like, what you don't like, what's working, what doesn't work, and healing, and trying to take the more positive parts and making that who you are. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes absolute sense, and I think I have been doing that for the past 8 years now.
Okay.
So knowing that this coming number 9 year is going to be more of the same, I'm just like, really? Really? Yeah, it just seems that everything has been being broadsided and moving through it. And yeah, and people from the past coming forward totally makes sense. I've been looking over my shoulder for a while now, waiting for that to happen.
Right.
So, it'll be good to get that all over and done with. I've been wanting that for a long time, actually. So
Right.
that's okay. But yeah, it just seems that the past 8 years have all been about that. And
Okay.
I finally get to this place where I can breathe and I feel really good.
Yeah.
So a 9 year doesn't feel very good for me. But
yeah, and it's about letting go. So I mean, it can be as simple as saying, like, if you find something keeps repeating and repeating, it could be just saying like, okay, it's something that keeps repeating.
yes.
So what? Like, just letting go of it, the fact that it's repeating or something keeps reoccurring, just saying that statement. So yeah.
I love that, and I'll tell you now, I love the way the universe works. I love the way spirit works, because when we're done here, I would love it if you went to my Facebook page, on my personal page, and looked at my post, because that's exactly what the Council of 12 told me this morning, was to let go.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
amazing. So let me just check the chat room here, Tina, for a second. So Carrie giggled at the bossy thing too. Uh, and I did see Sandra's information. She was, okay, she is November 14th, 1958.
Did she have a question or?
Do you have a question, Sandra, or were you wanting to know about this year in particular? No, Scorpio, you.
I'm just
Wait.
figuring out the numbers.
Yeah, you did, Tad. Actually, you didn't. I didn't mention a birth year, so there you go.
While Tina's figuring out the numbers, just say Carrie said that she's been getting all of that still this year from number 9. She started something, but for some reason she keeps hitting a load of obstacles.
So the reason why is, that's why I tell people when they're number 1 year, whatever new projects or plans they try to move forward with, if it's not going anywhere, to be patient, because it's like a garden. You know, some plants will grow like within a matter of days or weeks, and some take, you know, months, right, or longer. So she can't just give up. You know, she just maybe put it to the side, leave it be, and move on to something else. Because it's about, like, you know, trying as many different new things, getting as many new projects on the go. It's not limiting yourself to one thing. Yeah. So, and the, you know, the number 1 energy, like being headstrong, like just focusing on one thing is easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I hope that
I don't want her
helps.
to give up. Yeah, I don't want to give her to think like, oh, it keeps hitting a wall. I should, you know, I'm frustrated. No, like, don't give up. Just let it be then, and move on to something else. It'll come. It'll show up. She'll know what's going to happen with that plan or project in time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know, Carrie. You just keep that in mind. And Sandra, in response to our question about whether she had a question, she is wanting this year, an outlook on this year for her. If you can,
Okay.
Tina.
So she's in a number 5 cycle, and I love this cycle because it's about freedom and having fun, and life's a party, and socializing, and just, yeah, not worrying about the serious part of life. It's about just making the most of life this year. It's about changes. So she will find that, you know, she can change anything from her attitudes and tastes and what she likes and doesn't like, to, you know, decor, to appearance. Maybe like changing plans. It's about travel, getting out there. And travel doesn't necessarily mean like getting on the plane and going far away, but a lot of quick, short trips, like on the road a lot, going back and forth here and there. Yeah, and just having to be aware, like, not to overindulge in anything. So it'll be easy to get caught up, like, you know, you might have one glass of wine, the next thing you know, oh, I drunk the bottle. You know, overeating, overspending. Yeah, it can be like too much of a good thing as well. I don't know
Right.
if that makes sense. So if she's wanting to make any changes and she hasn't yet, this is the year to do it. Yeah, this is the year to do it.
How does that sit with you, Sandra? If you could type into the chat room to let us know, that would be helpful. I think the change is right on the money, considering another reading that I was witnessing. Nina, do you have something?
Yes, I'm curious, Tina,
Yep.
how you arrived at that, because when I do 14 plus 11 plus 2015, which is 8, I get 24, which is 6.
Okay, guys. Okay.
And
Oh, you got a 6-year. Okay, so the
No,
reason
this is for Sandra.
yeah, it does add up to a 6, but her cycle doesn't start. See, that's the difference, some numerologists do when it comes to cycles. They go by the start, like by January to December, no matter when your birth month is.
Okay.
I go by the birth month. So because her birthday is so late in the year,
yeah,
her cycle changes in September.
Okay.
So she won't go into a 6-year until September. So
that's okay. I get it now. Right.
Yeah. So
Cool.
because her birthday's so late in the year, so people like October, November, December, yeah, their cycle starts near the end of the year.
Right. So my birthday's in January.
Okay.
So this would be a 10-year for me. Does that mean I'm in a 10-year?
So 10 years. So you figured that out? So January.
Well, my birth is the 10th of January.
Oh, 10th.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to do the year if you don't want to.
Right.
Okay. So your cycle changes in November. Yeah, your cycle changes in November.
Right.
And so I will go.
So am I in a 9-year or a 10-year?
So you're in a 9-year.
Yeah. That feels right. It feels like endings for me, not beginnings yet.
Yeah. And it's challenging.
It is.
It can also be very moody. So moments of pure happiness, and then coming right down to utter sadness or despair. That's why I have to tell people, like, you have to be careful what you're taking on, and it could anything can trigger it. It can be like a past memory, because the number 9 has a lot to do with the past, reflecting and looking back. It's hard to get present. It's hard to look forward because you're stuck and looking at at what has happened, what has occurred.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm in number 9 birth year, and my soul number is a 27.
Okay.
So being a 9 anyway.
Yeah.
I used to be moody. I'm not so moody anymore because I'm older. I've moved out of that, and I know how to raise my vibration. But I deal with a lot of people's past issues.
Right.
I'm a therapist, so.
And you're a 9 person, you said.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, every time you're in a number 9 cycle, it's that much more significant for you.
Sure.
Because I'm going to try to explain this clearly. So when you're in a cycle number that reflects the same, life purpose number. So when you add your birth date, the month, date, and year, whatever number that is, if it happens to match the cycle number you are, that's very significant, because it means like the universe is saying, oh, we're going to test and reward you this year.
Right.
We're going to see if you are getting your lesson plan right. So they're going to reward you in areas where, like, yeah, you understand, you get it, what life lessons you're supposed to learn and who you're supposed to be. And you'll get tested in areas where you're not catching on, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. The universe gives me karmic slaps when I'm not on the right path, and I respond quite quickly to that. Instant karma gets me.
Right.
So I think this is relevant for a lot of people. It's really interesting to know that as a fact that when you're in your same birth year as a cycle as your birth number, then you have sort of a double dose of it, good and bad.
That's right. That's right.
Not bad, or challenging versus otherwise, because positive,
Right. Yeah, and it's like it's because the universe wants us to be true to ourselves,
Right.
and not have that mask. So it's like they're saying, okay, we're going to test that. Are you being true to yourself? Are you living your divine purpose and being your divine self?
Yeah.
And that comes, especially important when it's that the number of the cycle matches your birth date number, your life purpose number.
What I've noticed is that I'm always being called to raise my vibration, raise my vibration, raise my vibration when things come at me, like people. I'm a professional psychic. I sit there and I receive a lot of negativity from people, and I'm having to shift it, not take it on. And people also project a lot onto me, and
Right.
I don't take it. I mean, I cycle it through me rather than letting it and holding on to it. So having to let go continuously and keep my vibration high. And it's very, this year's been a little bit more challenging than other years. So that's something I've always had to do as a psych, in my work, but more so this year.
Yeah. Well, and you're number 9, like being a number 9 person, you're meant to be. It's akin to like the person, a wise old soul, standing on top of a mountain with a light or a lantern. Like you show the way for a lot of people, and
That's right.
You're meant to touch and help as many different people as possible. No one's supposed to stay constant in your life. They'll come and go all the time, right? So you'll hear from them and you don't, and then you hear back from them and you don't, like drop in and out. But that's because you're meant to have universal ideas, universal plans. You're meant to like put it all out there.
Right.
It's a very spiritual number, but it's a spiritual number on the universal level. So it encompasses like life on other planets, astral traveling.
Yes,
Guides,
yes.
all that kind of thing. Like you could really blow people's minds if you really wanted to. Open up.
I do.
All that. So yeah.
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 Well, it's really interesting. I mean, this is not about me hogging the show. Every number has a spiritual purpose, and every person who has their soul pathway has a pathway, has a life mission, and that's really, really interesting. So, for example, if we go back to Sandra again, Sandra's life number is what year was she born? Where was she?
I got a number 3.
Yeah.
She's in number 3.
Yeah.
So if you could talk about, because Sandra says, my partner is an 11, the woes of the world, unsettled and hard work, and she thinks she's a number 3. So, and she said, thank you, Tina. She's an agoraphobic, and she knows she needs to make changes. So that's her challenge for this year. So, she's acknowledging what you said to her before. But as a number 3, perhaps you could speak to Sandra about what her life path is, what her mission is as a soul number.
Okay, so she is meant to make people laugh. Okay, she's supposed to show the light side of life. It's about she's about going with the flow and showing that to others, not to be so practical and rigid and always follow a schedule. She's about like like riding the roller coaster. how to handle things as they just come out of left field or, into your path, the unexpected, the unplanned, but using a sense of humor. It's about having fun with life and having fun in different situations and seeing the positive side to everything, even if it's sad, negative, aggravating. Very creative, okay? She should use her smile to get her, to get things her way. Yeah. So if she wants a deal or to attract somebody or get someone's attention, she just needs to smile and maybe crack a joke. Young, like youthful, like having a young energy, because the number 3 represents children. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they like children or they have lots of children, but they have that energy about them. So they will always look younger, no matter what age they're at. They'll never look their age. They'll always look younger. So that's a really good thing. Yeah, they can be messy. They have a hard time of letting things go. Like they'll keep everything because it can be sentimental, or they just can't decide. So one of their downfalls is making a decision and sticking with it, because it's like, but this might be better, or I like this better. I can't make up my mind. So they can get confused a lot easily. I don't know if any of that makes
Cool.
sense.
Well, I've asked her to reflect on that and get back to us. So let's see what she types back.
So just let
Carrie says, oh, go ahead.
Oh, Carrie says she's a 5. Go ahead with Carrie. I had another question, but let's deal with Carrie first.
So Carrie's a number 5 person, yes. So she is here to learn about freedom and what does that mean to her. So it's like, breaking the rules or not following the rules. And it's not necessarily always about like, what the laws say, like, set, according to, the courts and the police, but what society says. So, society says, you need to get married and have so many kids and, buy the house, but, that kind of thing. Like, and her, it's like, if that doesn't feel right, if she would rather like live in a commune and raise everybody else's kids, then go for it. It's making her own rules, living by her own rules. It's also about communication. So and she's a charmer. So she would know how to use her words to get things her way. And effectively communicate her ideas. So I would say like talking is important to her. Writing would be important for her. Music. She needs to keep busy. She doesn't like to feel tied down. She likes to travel, explore, adventurous, being involved in trying and learning about different cultures. And also, too, she very open-minded. So it doesn't matter to her, like, what class or culture a person's from. She'll like you, she likes you. She doesn't like you, she doesn't like you, okay? She can be blunt with her words, but she also can be a very good liar if she wanted to. So I'm not calling her a liar, but I mean, she would, if she wanted to get away with something, she could get away with it pretty good.
Wow.
And she has to be careful. Yeah, she has to be careful with indulgence, so like with addictions, because of the number 5. So it's easily for her to get hooked onto anything. So like the common ones are like alcohol, drugs, gambling, but it also can be like video games and food, yes, shopping, anything. Like if she gets some sort of like rush out of it, she's hooked, and it's hard to quit. So she has to be aware of that. Yeah.
The only thing missing out of all of that for Carrie is that she's bossy. I'm sorry, Carrie, I had to say it.
That's her energy this year. She can be bossy.
Yes. And
Yeah.
effectively so. I mean, that can be a very good thing.
It can, yeah.
Yeah, we've had some feedback from Sandra. She said, "Oh my God, you owned me, Tina." And said that there were a couple of comments. Hold on. So obviously, you were spot on with your assessment of her energy, and Carrie is also actually agreeing with you. She says LMAO. I can never remember what that means.
Laughing my off, right?
Food. She's addicted to the food and internet.
Okay.
And what else did she say? Yeah. So she says, "Ha ha, I'm not bossy."
Okay, Carrie. That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Absolutely. So, Era, you had said you had some questions there.
Well, I did have a question because we're going by birth dates, and that is resulting in a specific number, and that number tells us, A, B, and C about who we are and who we've come here to be. Now, here's the ultimate question. Are there certain numbers that go best with other numbers relationship-wise? Not because I have anyone I'm trying to for me. I don't have time. But are there numbers that
are more compatible or not?
I want to say yes. Some are easier than others. But there's not one best number. So they will all have their, strengths and weaknesses, challenges and triumphs. I find, I'm going by experience when I have, read for clients and they want to know, like, about my relationship with this person. So people with your relationship adds up to an odd number. So that's by taking your birth date of each person. So if it's you and a spouse, or you and a child, or you and a parent, and adding them together, and if it's an odd number, I find it's more challenging than an even number.
I'm just thinking back to past relationships and doing math in my head, and you're absolutely right. Absolutely.
Well, tell me what kind of relationship you guys will have as well. What that number adds up to. So, I mean, it'll be like, it could be a lonely relationship. It could be a relationship where you guys are never alone. There's always company hanging around, or people coming in and out. Like, it's about, taking care of all these others as a couple. It could be, a fun, addictive, couple. It could be a quiet, moody relationship. It just depends what the number adds up to.
Yeah.
So what do? You add the people's soul pathway numbers. So
right.
My husband is an 8 and I'm a 9, so that's 17. That's an 8, right?
Right. So that tells me that so it's an even number, and it tells me that you two are meant to be together. So whether
that's
it
totally true.
Whether it lasts or not, okay. Because just because
32 years.
Right. Well, that's excellent. But I'm just saying, like, some people think, oh, it's an even number, we're going to be together forever till the day we die. Not necessarily. Okay.
Yeah.
Just that you're meant to be together for however long it lasts. Okay. Because things can change,
right.
And choices are made.
Of course.
Yeah, and you two are meant to build a life together, like it's about building together from the ground up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sandra said that she was a 3 and her husband was an 11. So that's a 14, which is a 5.
5. Yeah. So
that could be a little bit challenging, which she
a
said
little bit
that he was a bit challenging.
So their relationship is they both need to take a break from each other now and then. They're not the type of couple that has to spend, all the time together or need to know what's going on in each other's lives. They need breaks from each other. It's always changing. It's never constant, their relationship. So there's times like it'll go really good and then times it's really bad. They have to really focus on how they communicate with each other. So it could be a relationship, like they have to share everything. And then they have to be careful of, like, are they keeping stuff from each other? Is there, like, lies being told, like, or hidden from each other? Because 5 rules communication as well. I want to say that if they throw parties, I wonder if they're like the life of the party when they get together as a couple, or they throw really awesome parties if they invite people over as a couple. I don't know. She can answer that.
So here's a question. Now that we're talking about this, what I did is I went back and I did it for my last 2 relationships.
Okay.
Each relationship came out to the number 1.
Wow.
Neither of them worked.
Right.
What's going on there?
So one is, you can feel, each partner can feel lonely in the relationship. So it's hard. It's about, asserting one's independence and who's going to get their own way. It's headstrong. It's determined.
So like control issues?
Yeah, it can be control issues. Yeah, who's the leader? It can be selfish, like not wanting to share. Not only like, just, physical or material things, but also sharing, personal feelings or, beliefs, thoughts to one another. So it's like keeping to oneself. So someone's always keeping to, themselves in the relationship. At some point. Like not wanting to make it, not involving the other person. So it is what I get mostly when I see people in a number 1 relationship. It's like it's lonely at times. It's hard to feel like we're on equal footing, like we're doing this together. We're in this together.
Yep. Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. This is amazing. Before we get to Stephanie, because Stephanie has put in her information, Ted, I see you're on camera and you're actually back with us for who knows how long. Did you have a question for Tina?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yes, I keep getting bounced. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that's happening. I've missed a little bit of the sort of intricacies of this, but I'd be curious about a relationship that I had. The numbers you're talking about, is it adding the last 2 numbers of the year of birth? Is that right?
No, so your full birth date. So the month, day, and year you were born, what number that comes up.
Okay, so I'm a 21 and a 2, which is, I'm going to show up my maths now, 5. Oh, would you do it for me, Tina?
Yeah,
21st of 21st of February, 1962. I have no shame about my age.
Okay. So you're number 5.
Okay.
And then you're wondering about, do you know?
Yeah, 14th of December, the 12th month, 1966.
and she was a number 3.
Okay.
So it was number 8. Your relationship adds up to number 8. So no matter I was saying this to Nina before because her relationship's an 8, but so no matter if it lasts or not, it was meant to be. You two were meant to have a relationship and work something out. So a lot of times you would have had like a past life connection, and it's like what are you meant? You come together this lifetime to work something out. Also, too, it's about building something from the ground up together, and it can be very successful where you succeed not only on a mental level but material level, like financially, or you can lose everything. So I find people in a 8 relationship, they have periods where we're rolling in the dough and then we've got nothing, and then we're rolling in the dough and then we've got nothing. So money can be, and material possessions can be a big role in the relationship. I don't know. Another thing is like one or the other maybe take turns or nagging. So I don't know if you felt you were nagged and it got to you, or if you nagged her. Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. I hope they're not listening tonight. Yes. Well, yeah, on my life. Yeah, I mean, I'm not being cruel because there's still a friendship going on there, but I'm just curious. Oh my goodness, did she nag? Yeah, and you're only getting one side of the story here, but I know I'm not a nagger. Yeah, spot on there, lady. Wow.
Okay, and it's also too about like not giving up. So a lot of times when people are in a relationship that adds up to number 8, they don't give up easily. So I want to say that if things didn't work out, it wasn't like, okay, see ya, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
No, you guys, tried everything before. It was like, okay, yeah, it's time we go our separate ways.
Spot on. Wow, that's spooky. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have Stephanie here, and she has ascertained that she is the 9 life path number, and she's almost a Virgo. She's the September 27th, and she's not contributing a birth year, which is fine.
Okay.
No, I don't think she's a September 27th. I think I asked her composite number that makes up the 9. So it's 27. So that's the addition, and then that becomes the 9.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I see what that's. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So did she have a question, or she just wants me to talk about her number?
Well, perhaps start talking about her life path number 9, and if there is a specific question, maybe Stephanie, you can type that into the chat room for us. That would be great.
Okay, so she's meant to meet and touch as many different people's lives as possible. I want to say she's very, very sensitive because of the 27/9. So she's very sensitive. She sometimes maybe take things to heart too quickly or too easily. She needs to find an outlet to let go of what she hangs on to, because I just get the sense she doesn't forget. She hangs on and she hangs on. So nature is a very big component of her healing path. She needs to get out in the sunshine, out in the trees. Go for walks if she can every day, just to clear her energy, clear her mind, and empty out what she hangs on to. I want to say, like, I don't know if she does, but I get the sense that she cries easily. So just really sensitive. And I wonder if she has a hard time with relationships. So it's like I wonder if she like jumps the gun and gives it her all and opens up too quickly and gets hurt easily. So if she can confirm any of that, whether I'm right or wrong. Also, too, if she's interested in any of the spiritual sciences, she would be very good at it, especially like astral traveling. I'm trying to think of what is it called? Oh, channeling. And what is it called when, like, you feel like the spirit comes through you?
Mediumship. Mediumship.
Yeah, she would be good at that. I don't know if she's scared of the dark. It's like she needs light on all the time. And she needs to focus on universal ideas, like not think so small. She needs to think bigger and believe in bigger.
Cool.
Trust. And I wonder if she has trust issues as well. So she needs to work on trust. Yeah.
Stephanie says she used to be like that, but not now so much.
Okay. Well, that's good.
And she said, will my upcoming business venture succeed? And I asked her for the day and month of her birth so you could perhaps put it into her cycle frame. Or, here's a question for you. Can you do a numerological chart for a new business startup? And how would you determine what the start date would be?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or is it more, that's more like horary astrology, doing like a business chart, rather than just looking at the person and the cycle that they're in? I mean, or would you do both of those together?
Yeah, I would say it would be a combination of different numbers. So I would want to know, so the person's, I would calculate the individual's numbers. I would also like to know if the business, if it's going to be out of the home or, in a public spot, what the numbers associated with the business are. And also, a lot of people, they have a date in mind, right, when they want to launch things, or start something new or do something important. And I would take that into account too. So. And go by all that and kind of do a chart that way. I would say with her, avoid any dates with the number 9. So if, let's say, she was picking June 1st, 2015, and let's say it added up to a number 9 day, I'd say, like, no, don't make that the day you open up your business. Or start your business, because it won't go anywhere. Because it's about ending.
So you've been manipulating mostly the birth date number as the soul or life purpose number and the yearly cycle number. But can you give us an example of other ways, other kinds of numbers that you take into consideration when you do a numerological chart? I mean, how complex does it get?
It can get very complex. So, because there's diagrams that consist of squares, that you can get more detailed information about, what age frames, certain numbers are coming into play. You can do a name one. That's, a lot of people are familiar with, like, you can do numerology with your name. So that one would be like, what is your name on your birth certificate? So your birth name, and then the name that you go by now. Okay. a lot of people don't always go by their birth name. And then there's 3 aspects to your name. So the vowels would be one number, the consonants is another number, and then adding those 2 together is another number. And that talks to your personality. So the vowels is your true inner personality, who you feel you truly are, but don't always show, right? You don't always reveal that true self to others. The consonants is how others see you. Okay, so it's the impression they get of you, how you show, your mask, what you share with others, how much you reveal of yourself, and then both of them together is the person, your total personality, the person you are, your true, combining the 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Okay.
So adding the vowels and the consonants together. So you just count them, how many vowels are in your name and how many.
So you would write out your name. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm just going to use your name right now. So you go by Era.
Yes. Yeah.
So you would just, because that's who you are. That's what you use most often right now, right? It's just those 2 names.
Right.
So me, like the type of numerologist I am, it would be like, okay, I would just use those 2 names. And each letter has a number. So what you would do, like, write the numbers 1 to 9, okay, across the top of your page. And then starting at number 1, write the letter A. And just go, B would be number 2, C is 3. You go all the way, and when you get to number 9, it's the letter I, and then you start over. J would be number 1. So each letter has a number. So it'd be like, and you would write down, okay, A is number 1, R is number 9, A is number 1, and just add up all those numbers together to get the value of the vowels, and then add up the value of the consonants, and then add those 2 together. So and then your birth name, your birth name is important because even though you don't go by it and you don't use it, it's still a part of you.
Right.
So it's still there, just maybe not as strong as the name you are using right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do people come to you to ask if they want to change their name, they're not happy with their vibration? Do you advise them on names?
Not so often, no. I get more people ask me more when it comes to business names, actually, more than their own names.
Right.
So I'll advise on the business name, but again, it's like there's not one number that's better than the other because they all come with their gifts and challenges, right?
Yeah.
So, but not so much the name, no. And then I met a numerologist not too long ago, and he said that it's not good to change your name so often in numerology. So it confuses the energies. So I really, it's just something I want to share. Like, that's an opinion. I don't know if his experience working with clients, but yeah.
That's really interesting because, again, that was like changed beyond my control as a child, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
I had 3 different names for the first part of my life, and then I adopted a different name now that I'm known by.
Yeah.
That's kind of who I evolved into. The others don't seem to fit. The others are just somebody I used to know. Right?
Right, yeah.
Difference.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it's interesting to see, too, like, okay, that number, how did the energy play out, like what was going on in your life and who you were. with that name in that time period, right? And then to see how you evolved over time with all these different name changes, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of women, like when they get married, they take their husband's name, so that changes the energy, right? As well.
Yes, it does.
It totally, it totally does.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And people's nicknames
That's right. Yeah, because people go.
really changes people's vibrations.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if somebody uses a nickname, it's like, yeah, okay, let's see what this number means. And it's interesting. It's like that's who I am when I'm, when people, call me that name. That's who I am. Because there's some people too, like when they're with their parents might call them one name, and then when with their friends, it's a different name, and then at work it might be even a different.
Sure.
It can be so so much involved and so many complications with names. That's why I mostly stick with the birth date, because it cannot be changed or played around with.
Mm-hmm. Ted, did you do something?
Yeah, it was just interesting when the names were mentioned and the change of names, because I was Edward up until you get a little bit older, and then you become known as Ted, like my father. And it just reminded me that when I worked in the prisons, I went in there with the name Ted. The last name he wanted to be called was Edward. And my father insisted on ringing the jail to get hold of me one day, and my mother said he's known as Ted, and he insisted on asking for Edward, and I never lived that down in the environment that I was working in. But it was also interesting that I haven't had to change my name through marriage or anything like that. But Nick, the power of words, you see, is there anything within words? You say about names, and I got to thinking about name calling and things that you say to people. Is there a crossover to that when you're conversing with people, and the words that you use and the numbers that the words are constructed of at all?
Especially like when you call someone a bad name.
Yeah, or a nice name. Are there different energies in different words?
Yeah, I totally, like, I would say every word has a vibration, has an energy, and it would be interesting. I've never sat down and personally figured out, what does honey add up to, right? Versus the B word. Yeah. It would be interesting, but yeah, it would have a vibration and energy, associated with the number, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And it's interesting you said about what your parents call you. I went from with the name of Ted from probably the age of 21, and all of your friends and associates and peer groups sort of call you that. And then, of course, your mother or your father will call you, or you'll get the Edward, or if somebody chooses to say Edward to you, it suddenly takes you back decades sometimes to almost like being a small boy in my case, because there's that memory link that you have that responds to that name. So I'm quite intrigued by Era saying that she's changed her name 2 or 3 times. That I would find that slightly, do you know? I don't know if I suddenly change my name to Andrew or James, say, I wouldn't be Ted anymore. Do you know do you see where I'm coming from with the where the mind would go?
But the thing is, Ted, my first name was given to me by my birth mother. And then when I was adopted, it was changed to what my adoptive parents wanted it to be. But then they didn't like that one, so they changed it again. And so then I was that person up until I had a dream. And I was given the name Era in a dream. And it was felt for me, and I was told never to forget it. And then the longer I carried that name, the more I realized I had evolved into that. And so I decided professionally to use that name.
Right.
And the other ones don't seem to fit, but then I didn't choose them anyway, right?
Gotcha. So you feel you are Era?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
All
just
my
an
friends and
interesting
family call
concept.
me Era.
But it's true that when you have a nickname, say Jimmy rather than James,
Hmm.
there's a formal and informal, or there's you consider like Jimmy or names like that more like a diminutive. It's like make people younger. It's like associated with younger people or youthful energy. So when somebody gets older, there's more gravitas. You might go to James rather than Jimmy. And I always feel that there is that interesting quality of how people perceive you from your nickname, how diminutive it is. So you don't think that, for example, Nina could be made more diminutive than it is. But I have friends who call me Nee, Neen, and then I have them changing my name, Ninochka, or Nino, or some kind of funny names, and they just make it up, but that's what they end up calling me, and um, it's affectionate, but I mean, it does change with the vibration of that name, doesn't it?
It
It's
does.
fascinating.
Well, and like using Ara as an example, so from her time of birth to when her adopted parents, named her, she had that energy of that name, and then it dropped when her name got changed. So it's
Hmm.
like you take on the energy of that name whenever it's used,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. And it's the same thing, like, with the nicknames. You're a different person when, you're being called these different names, right?
Yeah.
You're to
So
observe.
Sandra says her father called her Sanj, and if he said Sandra, she knew he was being really serious.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
With
This
that
is,
tone of voice,
yeah,
Sandra.
I think we all know that. Oh my gosh, that tune.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough, Tina. You have just been, again, a wealth of information, not only to us co hosts that get to interact with you more, but also with the viewers. And I'm sure by the time this video hits YouTube, you are going to have even more people following you on Facebook. Yes, Tina is on Facebook and contacting you. If you're looking to book a session with Tina, just shoot her an email at tina@enlightenenergy.com. That is INLIGHTIN energy.com. And she will certainly set up an appointment for you. I have enjoyed this 2 hours immensely, Tina, and you're going to have to come back.
I
Please.
want to. Yeah, it went by so quickly.
It
I know,
did.
Did, yeah.
it's so
It's hard
fast.
to believe I could keep going.
I know, it's incredible the amount of information and what we're all learning.
Hmm.
Nina?
Yeah. I wanted to say that, I've dipped into numerology myself, and for me, and I think that a lot of people can relate to this, that I'm not very numerate person, and it really learning about the numbers and about the energy behind numbers for me was really a game changer for me, because it made me really appreciate maths, arithmetic even, or and how science and physics and talking about that side of things, which isn't my thing necessarily, how it all blends together and how numbers are such a fundamental part of explaining the universe, and how it really changed my relationship with maths. So
I
yeah.
love numbers. I love numbers. Numbers stick to me like glue. I've always been good at math. I don't know how I didn't end up in numerology now that I That's so funny. Ted?
I can't really add very much to what you and Nina have said, except I will go off with the memory that the ex-girlfriend was nag. But other than that, no, it's been, in all seriousness, it's great to actually see Tina live, because I don't think I would have remembered the face. I don't think she was live on camera, and hopefully by the next time we'll have communication, call-ins, which will really add to it, because then we'll be getting live feedback from people and reaction from them. So yeah, no, it's been great, and here's to the next time, and thank you, Tina.
Yeah, and thank you everybody who's participated in the chat room and asked Tina questions, and really, thank you, Tina, for sharing your expertise with us. An inspirational person, yes, thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it very much, so thank you to all of you.
Yeah. Oh, you're coming back soon. I can feel it.
Okay. That's great.
All right. Well, next week we have, what's her name?
We have, okay, hold on, I'll tell you exactly. Sherry Jemmett, who is a theta healer. And very interesting, if you know nothing about theta healing, you'll learn a lot about theta healing, which is all about theta frequency of the brain waves, and what happens when you go to that space, and how you can induce it, and how you can use that for in healing modality. And Sherry also makes amazing things. She's a very creative person, makes something called orgonites. So you might have heard of orgonites, which are types of, actually I have one. That's an orgonite.
Oh.
It's like a shield that she makes with metals and colors in a resin base that acts as a protective energy. She makes pendants, she makes objects, and based on Reiki and orgone therapy. So she'll be explaining the purposes, etc. of that. So it's going to be a fab show, and we welcome everybody to that show.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I'll be looking forward to that one. Once again, we want to thank Tina DeLuca. What an absolute treasure she is. And, the numerology shows are always so much fun. I love them. All right, so we will see you next week. And we'll see you next week. And stay tuned for more great shows from Virtual Vision FM. We are teeing up the roster as we speak, so you never know who's going to suddenly appear.
And thank you for being virtual visionaries with us.
Yes. Okay, so we will see you all next week. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
You have been listening to Virtual Vision FM.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or contact us at our website www.virtualvisionfm.com.
We want to hear from you because you matter.
Virtual Vision FM.
Your platform to all things spiritual.